Doug Wickenheiser skates to center ice to face off against Igor Larionov, and Game 3 is underway with Larry Robinson beating Ryan Walter, and now back to Rip Green. Robinson to Wickenheiser as he hits the Soviet blue line. Lafleur, the other forward out there for Montreal, but in possession is Fedosov losing it. The pass for Lafleur was not in his range. A great potential scoring chance there, but the Soviets move swiftly out. Larionov with Timonev inside the blue line. Back for Timonev. Good back-checking by Walter of Montreal. Gives Green possession. Now Robinson in behind the Canadian net. But the Russians always tough in their opponent's zone. This is all the trademarks, earmarks of a fast-moving, fast-skating hockey game tonight, as Green now tries to slow the play down, being bumped in that corner by Krutov. Krutov winning out, keeping it in for Timonev, who skates down, pops it out in front, intercepted there by Montreal's Green. Both teams very eager to strike first, the first goal of this, the third game of the series. Now the Canadians change. Walter coming off, Bob Gainey coming on. Timonev for the Soviets. Kapustin. Fedosov, the Russian defenseman, swings around behind the goal. Dumps it across, and a shot by Shepelev handled by the goaltender 70. The second shot going wide. Shepelev trying to feed Shalinov as they bump in the corner. Kapustin against Robinson. Shalinov, Shepelev, and it's wide. The slap shot. Gainey bumping Kapustin off the puck. Ilya Litvinev goes in behind his own goal. It's been 2 minutes of non-stop action. Shepelev with Kapustin. Knocked back up to center ice. Canadians chasing after it now. Here's Napier coming in on the right side. Dropped it in front, but Kukin was there to cover. Kapustin foot shot. 70 rebound. Shalinov 70 way out of the goal. And it's knocked back to center ice by the Canadians. Naslund got it down to the blue line. Sevigny out to greet the Soviet winger coming in on him. Delort. He can't clear. Kept in by Varnikov. Now Naslund. Finally down the ice it comes. Delort for Montreal. Knocked down to the corner. 3 minutes. And still not a whistle as they go back and forth here in Game 3 of this series. Perbukin is bumped in the corner by Tremblay. Back on the point. Weak shot is blocked. And Swartzov has it for the Soviets. Ahead to Varnikov. Varnikov turns and shot it weak and wide. Naslund for Montreal, the Green. Up the boards it comes. Back to center ice. Kavyanov being watched by Chris Nyland. Right side for Swartzov. His shot was blocked. Sevigny shooting it around the boards. Out come the Canadians with Nyland. Going in behind the net. Batman for it there. Nyland coming up with it right in front. Here's his shot by Walter going wide. Robinson as Babanov failed to clear. Ozakov to the blue line. Works it ahead for Zlutkov. Vasilyev and finally outside. Over 4 minutes into the action here. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Viktor Tikhonov, the coach of the Soviets, in a scoreless tie, 4 minutes and 9 seconds in. Doug Wickenheiser with Guy Lafleur and Ryan Walter out there for the face-off at the Montreal blue line, won by Baikov of the Soviets. For Starikov, and he drives it down to the Montreal zone. Beating Robert Picard. Ahead for Lafleur. He was bumped at center ice. It goes all the way down the ice, and Starikov will pick it up. Icing call against Montreal.
That's probably the most frequent thing you'll see tonight are icing. As we look at Doug Wickenheiser, first-round draft pick of Montreal a couple of years back, These two clubs don't usually go offside, so the kind of stoppage in play we'll get will probably be icing. The referees are going to let them play it along the boards. Both teams don't like to get tied up along the boards, so we'll be looking at that as Bob Berry trying to figure out just what the Soviets are doing and who they're trying to match up against his lines.
Well, they'll change on you so frequently, it's a full-time task. Rolls to the goalie, and Sevigny plucks it out of there and hangs on for another face-off. Starikov backhands it, blocked at the blue line. Walter fails to clear. Here's Timonev's weak shot, rolling through a maze of players for Larry Robinson. Now passed up on the boards for Walter. To Acton. Acton is taken down. No penalty call across the blue line. Play going right on. Fetisov with it for the Soviets, widening in his slap shot he planned on. Larionov in behind the goal for Timonev. He's bodied hard in there by Ludwig. They bump along the boards for possession in the Montreal zone. Gainey falling as he came to help out. Pass back to Larionov too far. Fetisov. Good rushing Soviet defenseman, fed it too far ahead. Ludwig with it for Montreal. Now Delorme. Rolling it ahead for Acton. Back to Ludwig. Left there for Larionov. He breaks quickly inside the zone. Passing for Kutov. Over to Timonev, the backhand drive. Loose puck. Finally cleared out the center ice by Montreal with almost 8 minutes gone in the scoreless first period here in the fourth. Timonev, the drop pass for Kutov. Then to Fetisov. Beat to the puck. Cleared back to center by Montreal. They just skate and skate and skate. The whistles few and far between. Kutov could not get over the blue line. Now it is Naslund for Montreal with Tremblay inside the line. Naslund getting set. Got all turned around. Couldn't get a shot away as the Soviet player slides into his own goal behind Tretья. That was Fetisov. Long slap shot. Oh! Dropped beside the goal by Tretья. Almost fooled by that long drive outside the blue line. Viktor Shalimov. To Kazatonov. Now Sergei Kapustin. Or Pervukin. And the Canadians have it at center ice. Steve Shutt, the left winger, drives it down to the right corner. Hudson Cree in there. Shepelev for Pervukin and Shalimov. And the Soviets bring it out. Left wing pass for Kapustin. His shot. Sevigny can't find it, but he's got it somewhere. And they finally whistle it down. 8 minutes gone. And the NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Sergei Shepelev will face off against Duck Wickenheiser of the Montreal Canadiens in a scoreless first period at the 8-minute mark. And again, Bonnie, linesman, comes in from the point to request they do it again. Shepelev couldn't get his stick on it. Montreal ahead to center ice. The dangerous Guy Lafleur swarming in that center ice area. Green with it. Passed at the blue line, blocked there by the Soviets. Sergei Kapustin, his quick shot. Sevigny gloved that and hung on. Sevigny has had the more work to do of the two so far. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. From the face-off, Lafleur. Lafleur brought it down the ice from the face-off into the Soviet zone. Now it is back to Lafleur again at center ice, trying to feed Walter a bit too far for him. Yuri Vozakov with it. He slides it ahead for Robinson. Now Acton. Davynov rides him off. Viktor Zlutkov to Sfortsov. Picard's long shot saved by Tretья. Long rebound. And Sfortsov has it for the Soviets. Quick left wing pass. Varnikov, his shot blocked. The top's high in the crowd. Such action, Lou Nanny. We'll talk about that in a moment. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Watch this body check right after the Russian pass it. Gainey coming in hard and taking Babinoff out with a real hard check. Bob Gainey always finishing his checks. That's why he's one of the most effective body checkers in the league.
And he is the most respected player among the Soviets. Quick shot, Tretya had to be alert on that. Gainey bumping along the boards for possession. Canadians having some difficulty in clearing. It is held in by Bykov. Tretya again with a quick save. And he shoots it himself all the way down the ice. Napier in pursuit. In behind the goal they go. Gainey over on the boards. Passing it in front. And it hops out to number 30, Gerasimov. Inside the Montreal line, he comes. Bykov bumped in the corner. Starnikov's shot goes wide. Napier ahead for Gainey. Touched his stick. It'll go all the way down to the Soviet corner. Icing called as Starnikov picks it up.
As we're looking at Zubkov, we'll talk about those icings and why they occur. Montreal likes to come out of their zone along the boards. The Russians always pinch with their defensemen. They take their third man, the high man, is always in the middle of the ice. So the Canadians have to try and beat that defenseman. They'll have to fire it hard off the boards. And if it's not right on one of their forwards floating in center ice, it'll go down for an icing. But that's the way Montreal usually comes out. One thing the Russians do, maybe many of the NHL teams should look at, is have that third man a lot higher. That takes away the middle and forces the play to come out the boards where a defenseman can handle it.
Well, the Soviets certainly have had an impact on professional hockey on this continent. More and more of the Soviet moves are being seen by the National Hockey League players, and now some of the NHL style by the Soviets from time to time. Becoming very similar, these two sides. Kazatanov. It is left for Timonev as Canadians are checking very well in the center ice area. Trying to pounce on the Russians, something the Russians did to Quebec mercilessly last night. The high shot is blocked by Sevigny. Open wing pass bounces to Fedosov at his blue line. Up there by Mario Tremblay. Gave the puck to Neslin. A long shot just goes wide. Pass by Shutt right in front. Delayed penalty here will be called against the Soviets. Fedosov picks it up, and the Soviets have the first penalty of the game. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
You'll see Alexei Kazatonov in front, grab a hold of Mario Tremblay right there as the pass comes across. He's gone off for holding. He's one of the more physical Soviet defensemen. He uses his body quite a bit, but he probably has been called for more holdings than any Soviet defenseman we've seen of late. Big, strong fella, but now sitting in the penalty box. Montreal with a power play that's been sputtering so far this season, trying to capitalize on the first goal of the evening.
Ryan Walter will take the face-off against Shepelev. Lafleur is back on the left point, Green on the right side. Now they wave Walter out and bring on Acton. The linesman still not satisfied back here, but encroachment on the face-off circle by Walter. And again, he whistles it down and delays the face-off. Walter got inside that circle.
Well, Shepelev was way over the line, and now he's going to get warned. If he gets too far over the line again, then they can get called for delay of game. That's why they give you one warning. Linesman Wayne Bonney talking to him right now. As you look at referee Wally Harris, senior referee in the National League, looking at the clock.
9:04 remaining in the first period. No score. What action we've seen. Acton did not get the face-off. Shot down the ice by the Soviet Shalibov. Montreal with Green warming up the Canadiens' power play. Walter cruising at the blue line. They shoot it inside. Guy Lafleur into the corner for it. Walter comes up with it. For Lafleur, back to Walter. Now Lafleur in close range in there. Lafleur behind the goal. Bileptidov watching him. Lafleur goes down, tries to force a face-off, dug free by Walter. Acton, left point. Lafleur. Acton. Back for Guy Lafleur. In front for shot, a quick shot, a great save by Tretya. The best save of the night, a blast from point-blank range. Steve shot. A minute left in the Soviet penalty. Shoots from the angle. Here's Green. That's blocked by Akhtenov to a corner. Shot lost control, falling on the play as Shepelev brings it out slowly with Shalivov. And the Soviets will change, as do the Canadians. 41 seconds in the Montreal power play remaining. Here's Lafleur. They got too close. They bumped in there across the blue line. Guy Lafleur with it again. Beating Tremblay. Tremblay bodied off the puck. Down for Larry Robinson. Wickenheiser stops it in behind. Lafleur can't get a shot away, and the Soviets clear. 10 seconds remaining in the Soviet penalty. Lutkov goes down on contact at center ice. And out comes Kazatonov, so the Soviets have killed off the penalty, but a quick chance right there to the side of Tretyak. Just failed to click. Naslin. USSR shoots it down the ice. Icing called against them. It's still scoreless. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
If you wonder what makes a great athlete, it's usually speed and quickness. And if you ever watch Guy Lafleur, watch the quick hands. You never tell a player to back pass the puck, but if it's Guy Lafleur, you don't worry about it. You see that backhand pass he made at center ice? Right on the money.
Carbonneau will take the face-off in the Soviet zone for the Montreal Canadiens. Digs it back to Rezhan Houl. His backhand drive is gloved by Tretyak. While people in the Soviet Union on New Year's Day will watch this game and what a treat they have in store for them, we'll be watching the UCLA Bruins and Michigan Wolverines in the Rose Bowl game on CTV tomorrow. Great save by Tretyak.
Tretyak with a good glove, but that's where they're going to have to beat him up high. He's very good down low with those legs covering both corners, and they're going to have to try and get him up in the corners on him.
Carbonneau losing to Bykov. Vyacheslav Bykov with it. Will go back and try once again from behind his own goal. Now it is Starikov on the right side. And the shot drifted wide. Here's Robinson. And it's relayed back inside the Soviet line again. Just 6 minutes and 10 seconds to play. Almost non-stop action we have seen here in the first period, but no goals so far. Larry Robinson pops it ahead to Carbonneau. Big rebound off those boards. The Soviets pounce on it quickly. Gerasimov. They call him on the offside of the Soviet blue line.
And a very infrequent offside because the Soviet player just lost the puck with Spocek, as we see Vasilyev, a new member of the Soviet team, just going off. He's got the same namesake as Valery Vasilyev, many, many years, the top Russian defenseman who had retired briefly this season. Now he's coming back playing with the B team, and he may make a comeback in the World Championships.
I believe they are cousins, as a matter of fact. The Soviets on this tour are separating the old from the young and deciding who will represent them not just in the World Championships, but as they point to the Olympic Games at Sarajevo a little over a year away. Very important series to decide the personnel right here. Acted is bumped over on the center ice boards, but the Canadians play it down inside the Soviet zone. Gainey in hot pursuit. Kazatonov with it. Getting ahead for Timonev. Timonev slides inside the line, drops the pass, and a great extended glove save by Sevigny. He indeed has been tested by the Soviets tonight. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Scoreless game, 5:15 to play here in the first period. And I'm quite sure that this capacity crowd has received their money's worth already from the action they've seen here in the first 15 minutes. Just bristling action in the Montreal Forum.
You wonder how they haven't won in 5 if they could play like this every game.
Play the Soviets every night. They might play a lot better. Ludwig's long shot is handled by Tretyak to Fedosov off in the left corner. Walter keeps it in for Montreal off the first skate. Now Vyacheslav Fedosov, the Soviet team captain. Deflected by Kutov into the crowd.
You see how well Montreal's taken that center zone away from the Russians, especially coming out of their zone. As we look at Ryan Walter, one of the real big leaders on this Montreal Hockey Club, coming over in a trade earlier this season for Brian Engblom and Rod Engblom. And he's a fellow that, there's a Bobby Orr, one of the all-time great defensemen, looking on and probably enjoying this as much as we are.
He appears to be hanging on every play, as this crowd here in Montreal and the audience across the country, we hope is too. What a tremendous show being put on by the Canadians and the Soviets tonight here at the Forum. Delorme for the Canadians works to the corner against Pervukin. And it is Shepelev. Dropping it to Shalimov on the left wing. Shalimov against Lafleur, has it in the corner. Plays it around the right side. Kapustin's tied up. Vilyaletdinov along the boards. As Walter fell, keeps it in for the USSR to Shalimov. Forwards crisscrossing all over the ice in there for the Soviets, as they're prone to do. Shalimov being bodied against the boards, contained there. Wickenheiser now watching his man. It's tipped out to center ice by Ryan Walter. Now Shepelev with Kapustin and Shalimov. Waits to make the perfect play. Short side. It was off the mark by Shalimov. Now Delorme from Montreal will shoot up the length of the ice. And the Canadians will be called for icing with 3 minutes and 36 seconds remaining.
Well, this fella right here, Bob Barry, coach of the Montreal Canadiens, has really got his hockey club playing properly tonight. He is literally taking that whole zone from behind the Russian zone all the way to the red line, the center of the ice area, away from the Russians, forcing them to make passes to the wing and somewhat stifling their smooth flow of play coming out of their zone and the neutral zone. This definitely affects the way they're going to operate in the Montreal defensive zone and cut down the real good chances the Russians normally would have up to this time.
Carbonell against Lutkov. Lutkov won the draw, got a quick shot away. Sevigny shoots it off to the side, and finally it is relayed down the ice off a Soviet stick. Icing has been waived. Yuri Bozakov to Sportsov. Bozakov being harassed by Shutt. Neslin could not make a play at center ice. Soviets breaking up a lot of the Montreal advances in the center ice area. Now Babinov rolls it into the Montreal zone. 70 out to leave it for Robinson. Robinson against Varnikov. Plays it this way, the left side. And again off the Soviet stick, and he's shot down to the USSR zone. Babinov trying to clear to Schwartzov, can't do so. Here's Picard's shot, deflected, great save. A redirected shot, and a super save by Tretchak.
That's the toughest save of the night right there.
Varnikov lost it. Fed ahead for Naston with shot inside the line. Shot goes down. Here's the pass for Tremblay. Winding is Robinson, and now again Tretchak knocks it high into the crowd.
Tretchak moving out to challenge Robinson was somewhat off balance, and he made the save with his goal stick. Tretchak came up with two outstanding saves. Picard first on a shot from the point. Now Larry Robinson's shot from the top of the circle. Picard's was another extremely difficult one. He took the shot, Tremblay cutting in front, deflected it, and went right to Tretchak. That one had to be a fine save by Tretchak, moving out and to his left, reaching up with his goal stick and knocking it over the glass.
Two of Montreal's best opportunities this game, and great work by Tretchak to deny them. Carbonell over on the far corner for Rezhan Houl. He has Divikali against Zubkov, and the Soviets take it out of there. A Soviet player was injured on the play. He is lying down. It is Vladimir Zubkov way back in the face-off circle. He is face down.
Well, Zubkov took a right from Chris Nyland. He took Nyland into the boards, and he got hit with one and went down. I think he was just trying to draw a penalty because the Russian defenseman was coming over at him in such an angle that it's going to block the referee's view, and he's just taking a little rest probably. I don't think he's hurt that much. But the Russians doing a fine job of containing Montreal along the boards there. Montreal just dumping the puck back and forth along the boards. Really couldn't get it free for any play. Here's a play along the boards now. You'll see this. Watch the right. Huh. Actually, it was Rezhan Houl. Surprise. I thought it was Nyland if he hit him that good of one. Nyland's a big tough kid. There's a right by Houle.
Lasted about as long as the recent Gilks Weaver fight in Las Vegas.
I think that one was a little bit of a dive.
2 minutes and 8 seconds remaining. And among the people here tonight, the gentleman with the fedora sitting on the aisle, the former National Hockey League president, Mr. Clarence Campbell, taking in the action.
And it's fine to see him out and about because he wasn't feeling too well lately. He's a great man.
Indeed he is. And like so many here in this building, loves the game of hockey. Sergei Starikov could not clear. Walter for Montreal feeds it in. LaFleur into the corner, dumps it in front for Wickenheiser, past him to Green. LaFleur blocking it. The pass out by Starikov. Now the center, Wickenheiser, back to LaFleur. Starikov stick checking him. Guy LaFleur staying on top of the play. And the Soviets finally get it back to center ice. This is Vasiliev winding and taking the shot. And taken down by Bill Root. 1 minute 27 seconds to play in this great first period. Green. Up the left side. And finally into center ice for Bykov of the Soviet Union. Bykov left it there for Gerasimov, and his booming shot goes wide off the glass. Gerasimov again to Vasiliev. Just 1 minute to play now in period one. Azatanov. Timonev scored one of the 3 Soviet goals in last night's 3-0 win over Quebec, goes down. Now Guy LaFleur must be getting tired. Indicates he wants a rest, so the Canadians change on the fly. Fetisov falling at center ice, and they whistle it down with 39 seconds to play.
That's a perfect indication of the difference in the size of the rink here and in Europe. He would have had 15 feet more, at least 7.5 on this side, and he was just backing up, ran into the boards and it takes time to adjust to the size of the rink, and Fetisov right there probably hit harder than he normally would get by anybody.
Wait till they hit the Stampede Corral in Calgary Sunday night. Talk about the boards coming up to meet you.
Some of the small forwards might not be able to jump over them.
Right. Robinson. To Delorme. Delorme to Acton, rink wide into the corner. Acton picks it up in behind. There's no icing on the play. Battling forward against Kazatanov. Now Larionov comes in to help. He is being hounded by Napier. And the Soviets come away to center ice. Krupkov's shot is high, gloved by Sevigny. Robinson for Gainey. Gainey across the line just at the siren to end the first period. As good a first period of international hockey as you're liable to see between the Soviets and the Montreal Canadiens tonight here in the Forum, representing the pros of the National Hockey League. Some great scoring chances both ways. The play of Sevigny early on, and then of Tretjak in the closing 7 or 8 minutes. Simply outstanding. A goaltender's showcase here for these two in this contest this evening. So there's no score after one. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Easiest way to win a game. Quebec fell into it. I don't think Montreal will.
The Canadians outshot the Soviets 10-8 in that bristling first period, and now play underway in the second. LaFleur in the center ice area, looking for the puck. It is behind him, so Wickenheiser takes over. Root jams it along the boards. Larionov cuts in front of his own goal. Timonev has it roll off his stick. To Satnov, over to Larionov again. Being watched by Wickenheiser. Now LaFleur. Soviets look for that fast break, but the Canadians have defenders circling back at their own blue line. They anticipated. Wickenheiser's shot is blocked by Tretjak from a bad angle. Fetisov. Kazatanov works it ahead to Larionov. Swings inside the Canadian blue line and was taken off the puck by Root as Green picks it up for Montreal. To Walter, he tips it down the ice. Long shot, sharp angle, handled by Sevigny. Left it there, a Soviet player came right in front. They still have the puck inside the Montreal zone. Now Timonev knocked off by Gainey. And the play is whistled down as the Soviet player was taken down in center ice. There'll be a penalty on it. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
We're going to see Bob Gainey come across here and trip Timonev, and this all started because Richard Sevigny in the net didn't know that Larionov was coming out behind him and stole the puck from him.
Ilya Leptinov starts the play for the Soviets, ahead to Kapustin. Soviet power play, which is only 1 for 13 in this series, has a chance to improve that percentage right now. Sergei Kapustin, Ilya Leptinov. Knocked off the puck inside the line, and a sweeping clearing shot by Carbonneau to center ice. Makes Shalimov reorganize. Montreal changing with Lafleur stepping on now. Shepelev being watched by Guy Lafleur. Rides him off into the corner. And they bump it in there and freeze it for a face-off with 1:07 left in Bob Gainey's tripping penalty.
Well, Guy Lafleur right there, number 10, one of the reasons why Montreal got off to a real fine start. Then he got hurt in Minnesota. He was out for about 3 weeks. As we look at him staying on the ice to kill a penalty, and the Canadians started to slide a little bit. He's come back, rebounding with a fine year. He's got great quickness, great shot, and as you know, he's one of the smartest players in the game. Here's Lafleur taking a man into the corner along the boards. He's going to just be content to keep fighting for that puck and kill the clock and take a face-off down there.
Krutov lost the draw to Walter, who promptly shoots it down the ice, take the pressure off again with exactly a minute left in Gainey's penalty now. Lafleur almost got a chance as the puck hit the back of the Soviet player's skate. Now Krutov skates inside the Montreal line, feeding Timonev. He shoots, angle cut down by a sliding Sevigny. And past Kazatonov, it goes back to the Soviet zone. Now Lafleur takes a breather, relieved by Guy Carbonneau. Canadians effectively killing off this power play, which has 30 seconds left in it. Larionov over to Krutov, over on the far side. Dumping it back out there. Here's Kazatonov, fakes the slap shot. Now gets set, drills it through a maze. Puck is still loose, but up with it come the Montreal Canadiens, and it is shot down the ice by Keith Acton. And that should effectively kill the Soviet manpower advantage. 4 seconds left, but here is Fetisov. Rolling into the doorstep of Sevigny for Robinson. Gainey at center ice, steps out of the box and takes possession. Being watched by Larionov. Larry Robinson. His pass came out over 2 lines. It is offside to Tremblay as they whistle it down. 3.5 minutes into the period. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. There are fans who like scoring, and there are fans who like great hockey. And while they're not seeing scoring so far, indeed, are seeing one of the greatest hockey we've seen in years here on the Montreal Forum tonight, as Delorme for the Canadians shoots it up over the Soviet blue line, as the Soviets have to go back to collect it with Vozakov in possession. To Timonev up the right boards. Delorme in the center ice area, having difficulty there, will now shoot it down to the Soviet corner. Steve Shutt chasing Vozkov. Held in by Montreal's Naslin. Now Varnikov wearing Maltsev's jersey. Maltsev has gone home with a broken finger. They'll miss the rest of this series, and it's whistled down offside.
The Russians must think they're playing in front of a mirror as we look at Babinov, the elder statesman on defense for the Russians. The same things Montreal's trying to do, the Russians are trying to do. The same way coming out, the same way they're forechecking. They must be a little frustrated going against the Canadians, and the Canadians playing just outstanding hockey so far tonight.
Coach Bob Berry, indeed, has prepared them well for this highly emotional game this New Year's Eve. Here's Vasilyev being tied up by Napier, now cutting free. Passing it out to Starikov, and his slap shot is blocked to amaze the players by Sevigny. Zubkov injured late in the second period, back on the ice now as the puck hops into the crowd.
The Russians probably a little frustrated. Tikhonov never shows much emotion. The most emotion I've ever seen him show was in the Canada Cup game when Canada, just before the final series, was beating them right in here and was beating them handily. Had them down about 7-3 at the time, and was really, here's a fine shot, by the way, by the Russians, was really quite concerned. A good save by Sevigny, coming out, cutting the angle, even though he screened. Rebound coming off to the side.
Labatt's will present a Player of the Game award to the outstanding player of each team, a Panasonic Way Mini stereo cassette player, and right now those two goalies are leading candidates. Tretjak and Sevigny. Puck still in the Montreal zone. Root gets it across the blue line and ahead for Acton. Gerasimov beating up the right side for Bykov. Bykov closing in. His shot deflected off target by Sevigny. Napier has it roll ahead off his stick. Vasiliev with Bykov. Gerasimov, they score! A quick shot of the Soviets take the lead.
Well, Vasiliev coming across the blue line using a decoy. They usually drop that pass. That time he didn't. He let a bullet drive go up over Sevigny's glove to put the Russians ahead. The Canadians had a 3-on-2 break. It was broken up. He comes back, uses the screen, and lets it fly right from the top of the circle. That's a play that the Russians will usually drop the puck right here, but he just came over and let it go. Just a quick turnover in the puck. The Russians going very quick from defense to offense and capitalizing.
With the wrist shot, he snaps it in. The Soviets, 5 minutes into the period lead. They're back on the Canadians, and oh, Walter missed the far side. Walter for Montreal, rolling it in front for Guy Lafleur, can't make a play. And here comes the USSR with a fast break once again. Shalinov with Shepelev, the pass across for Kapustin. He's knocked down in the corner, lies there looking for a penalty. That is called as Rickenheiser brings it out. With Lafleur and Walter. Lafleur can't get his stick on it as the Montreal player Rickenheiser slides into the goal. A penalty is called. It'll be against the Soviets. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Vasiliev at 5:08 has given the Soviets a lead, and now Vasily Pervukin has drawn an interference penalty, so Montreal will have their power play on the ice.
Montreal got the puck in the slot to Shet the last power play, and he had an excellent chance. They've got to quit playing with that puck along the boards and get it to the middle and get them shot.
Guy Lafleur to Larry Robinson. All kinds of bumping in front as Robinson rolls and Lafleur blasts it, and it's wide of the goal. Axon trying to play it in front. Back for Robinson. Steve Shutt with it. All the way across for Guy Lafleur, who scares it. Lafleur dumping it in front, Acton shot. Shutt drives it, that's blocked for the Soviet player, Krutov. Montreal with the pressure on during the power play. Steve Shutt for Robinson. Back for Shutt, blinding, his shot deflected. It's knocked away by a Soviet glove. Tretjak was flat on his back, and his defense player came in to bat it away as they whistle it down. And
Robinson's hurt a little bit on the boards. He just tripped over his feet along the blue line. He's getting up very slowly. He stepped on the puck and crashed into the board as Tretjak in front, probably wanting to take a rest because you're going to see some fine play in front of that net. Here's Robinson. He's going to just pass that puck to Shutt. Robinson circling to go back, and Shutt lets fly with a puck that's deflected up and over Tretjak on the save, and very quickly Kazatonov just plays it to the corner with his hands. Very good move. Tretjak getting a breather. He's been tested time and time again, but he goes down. He plays a lot like Dryden from way out. He uses his legs extremely well on the corners, and what you've got to try and do is get that puck up and over him because he's down low, and the only place he's leaving you to shoot are the upper corners right now.
A minute 10, Lunati left in the Soviet penalty to Pervukin. The shots on goal 15-12 in favor of the Soviets at this stage as we approach the 7-minute mark of the second period. Vasilyev's goal has given the Soviets the 1-0 lead. The Canadians press to tie it here in the power play. Rickenheiser has it back to Green. Green again. His shot through a maze, and a sharp check covers up and hangs off.
And he had a difficult save there because Wickenheiser, with his big frame getting good position on Babinoff, was trying to deflect it, and I think got a piece of it. Look at Wickenheiser in front of the net, moving Babinoff out and sticking his stick out right there, and he did get a piece of it. Tretchek standing up, not going down too quickly. He made a great play by standing there, facing the shot, and covering it and holding right on. Fine job by Tremblay and Wickenheiser trying to get the screen and maybe a deflection in front of the net. The Soviets getting ready to face off. I believe Lafleur wanted to change his stick.
He's got it. He's stationed on the left point. Naslund on the draw. Shoots it into the corner. Bozakov. Up for Lafleur of Montreal. Wickenheiser lost control. Now Naslund takes over. Contained outside that blue line. So far breaks inside. Naslund. Nice stick handling. Took it out to the far corner for Tremblay. Mario Tremblay with it now. Leaves it in behind there for Wickenheiser. Circling, back for Robinson, too far, hops outside the blue line. 30 seconds left in Pervukin's interference penalty. Bozakov. Relayed ahead for Zlutkov. Zlutkov at the Montreal line against Green. Gets turned off the puck, and Green has it now. Just 10 seconds to go, the Soviet penalty. Naslund hits the Soviet blue line. Rolls it around to the far side. No Montreal player is there. And it's shot to safety by Bykov as the penalty is over. Pervukin's out of the box. So the Soviets have killed off a penalty near the 8-minute mark of this period. They lead 1-0 over Montreal. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. That's the story. The goal by Vasiliev, 5:08 into the second period, has given the Soviets a 1-0 lead. But Montreal, with that power play, now expired, has been pressing. Guy Carbonneau on the draw. Soviets win that faceoff by Bykov. Now for Vasiliev, the only goal scorer so far tonight, drops it. Gerasimov's shot. Big rebound coming out of there, and Starikov went over top of Sevigny. Carbonneau picks it up for Montreal. Having difficulty at the Soviet blue line. Bykov is bodied hard by Rezhan Houl. And the Canadians shoot it in and skating after it. A big body check on Vladimir Zubkov. He goes flying into the board. Chris Nyland will freeze it for a face-off in the Soviet zone.
Well, Nyland took that Zubkov in real hard. Zubkov was set, and Nyland still was able to literally lift him off his feet and put him in the boards and get a face-off in the zone. Some fine body checking by Montreal, but a great play made earlier by Craig Ludwig down in front of the net. When a fine save by Sevigny came, here you'll see the play. Dropped by Vasiliev, a shot. Now look for Ludwig to Sevigny's left, making a fine play right here, covering up. Otherwise, the Russian would have had a wide open net. That's the way to play defense. Craig Ludwig out of Eagle River, Wisconsin, at the University of North Dakota, coming in as a freshman. Here he is, a rookie defenseman in Montreal, and having a great season for him. A big surprise.
How many times, Lou, have we seen the Soviets score when that man has been left unattended? Not in that case. From the left point, the shot goes wide. The Soviets, Kapustin brings it back out and plays it inside the Montreal blue line. Shepelev bumping there with Bob Gainey. Now Kizaktin with it. Hits the Soviet line. Swings in front of the goal for Gainey. Could not get the puck to him, and the Soviets bring it right back down the ice. Shalimov, Kapustin, he's checked from behind by Acton, and a penalty is going to be called to Keith Acton for hooking the Soviet player as he was about to unload, and Acton doesn't like it. So the Soviets will have the power play advantage in just a moment. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Well, a fiery Keith Acton coming back, making a fine play, and then just overextending himself and hooking the man down. Wally Harris right on the play and adamant about his call, putting him off for hooking, giving the Soviets the opportunity. Here you'll see Acton coming back and reach out and hook Kapustin right there. And the Russians now have the opportunity to go up 2-0 on the power play. Acton, the fiery junior with Peterborough Pete's. Then he goes to Nova Scotia, now up with Montreal. Always plays with a great deal of desire and enthusiasm.
Krutov won the face-off for Fetisov. He shot at a fine save by Sevigny, the hard blast from the point. Bob Gainey checked by Fetisov, can't get around him. Timonev now. Inside the Montreal line. Around for Krutov. Krutov left it there. Two Soviets. Green for Montreal battling for it. Green doing a yeoman's job, succeeds in tying it up.
And Green was very wise going from man to man, not getting himself tied up with any Russian. He was killing a lot of time. Rick Green, coming to the Montreal Canadiens in that deal with Ryan Walter, has probably played the best hockey of his career ever since he's come up as a very high draft choice with Washington. He's come in with some confidence, playing on a fine hockey club. Montreal being very pleased with the kind of play he's given them thus far this year.
The series will continue in Calgary at the Stampede Corrals Sunday night, 6 Calgary time, 8 Eastern time, then on to Minnesota, Bloomington for the North Stars on Tuesday, then Philadelphia next Thursday to wind up this great series of 83. Kazatanov booms the shot, but Sevigny kicks it out of the air.
Certainly did, but Sevigny could see it all the way. Good play by Rick Green in front. He just moved the Russian out of the way. There's Sevigny. You'll see Rich Sevigny is going to be able to see the shot because his defenseman cleared the way, and that's what you got to do. Let the goalie see the shot, take the shot, and the goalie, Sevigny, right here, wisely holds it. A good job down in front of the net, both by Bill Root and Rick Green, moving those fellas aside.
Ryan Walter will oppose Krutov on the faceoff. Shot to Kazatanov, who keeps it into Fetisov. Fetisov's weak shot goes nowhere. Bob Gainey with it. Brings it back to the center ice area for the Montreal Canadiens, who trail the Soviets by 1-0. We approach the midway point of the second period. A rolling shot by Kazatanov that's deflected off to the side. Rick Green against two Soviet defenders loses to Krutov. Tretjak with 90 minutes of shutout time now. He blanked Quebec last night 3-0. He's got a hot streak going for him. The Soviets have one here on this power play. 45 seconds to go in it.
And Bill Root's got no stick down in front of the net.
The Canadiens have 3 defenders effectively, and it's rolled wide by Larionov. Fetisov across. Larionov rolls it again across the goal mouth. With 30 seconds to go and the Montreal penalty to Acton, they do get it out. Now Root can get himself a hockey stick as it is shot down the ice.
Well, Gainey should have given him his stick, or either that or Ryan Walter. You always give the defenseman the stick when you're a man short down in front of that net.
Good point. Swartzov. Carbonneau missed the check on him. Montreal taking more of the heat off, shooting it down now.
And that means even if he shoots the opposite hand, it's better for him to have a stick to move people around or get a puck frozen. But the Canadiens killed it off very well. They've just got 3 seconds left in the penalty to face off in the Russian zone. A fine job by the Canadian defenseman. And speaking of defensemen, Bill Root was a free agent 3 years ago. The Canadiens signed him, brought him to Nova Scotia after they traded Gaston Gingras to Toronto last week. They brought him up, and it looks like he's going to make himself a place here. Very confident in Root's ability when you trade Gaston Gingras, who had played here for 3 years, and not really having any experienced defenseman in the minors. So they must think very highly of him, and he's done a fine job. Most notably on that power play, not letting the Russians have anything.
And Tretjak has certainly done a fine job. He's the leader in the unofficial balloting among our crew for the Labatt's Player of the Game Award for the Soviets. As we mentioned, now almost 91 minutes of consecutive scoreless hockey against the Nordiques, and now the Canadiens tonight. Missed the first game with the flu in Edmonton. Naslund can't get a rolling puck, but Steve Shutt does. Shutt goes again, shoots, and he's shot wide. Tremblay digs it in front. Shot in behind the goal, battling for it against Babinov. Larry Robinson wheels it down to the Soviet corner for Steve Shutt. And the Soviets coming up with it now. Varnikov, but he'll go all the way back in behind his own goal to get something going. To Pervukin, and it is shot down the ice by the Soviets. Icing is waved off. Digging forward is Craig Ludwig. Over to Larry Robinson. Nearly 12 minutes gone here in the second period. The Soviets with the only goal. Soft rolling shot by Ludwig, handled easily by Tretья. This is Skvortsov, squeezed off by Robinson. Rick Green to Robinson. Long pass out here. Tremblay, that's a good pass. Feeding. Here's the shot. Oh, a great attempt by Mats Naslund, just failed. He could not poke it past Tretья. Best scoring chance this period for Montreal. Tremblay against Bozakov, and they tie it up. And what a chance Naslund had just a moment ago to tie it. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Look at Mario Tremblay, very good play, standing flat-footed, seems Naslund streaking down, feeds him ahead with a quick move by Naslund to his backhand, and being bothered, he just wasn't able to put it in that sprawling Tretья in that open net. Great play by Tremblay, though, to get him away.
Here's Green's shot. Tretья blocks that. Rebound for Acton. He stops that one, too. As the net is knocked off its moorings on the action.
Montreal winning a face-off, and that's why you want to get a lot of face-offs in the defensive zone of the other team, because sometimes you get shots like that. Clear draw, right back to Green, a good shot, and there's Acton fighting for that puck. He gets the rebound, and Tretья frees it up. Take a look at Acton up close. If you had a look-alike contest, number 12 of the Montreal Canadiens would be the same as Kenny Linsman, now of the Edmonton Oilers.
Linsman, one of the winners in the first battle on Tuesday night of the Northwoods Coliseum. Oilers winning at 4-3. Soviets beat Quebec 3-0 last night. This one is up for grabs, and you get the feeling the Canadians are getting closer and closer to that tying goal. There's the time left, and this is the second period.
That's when you say in the bench, Don, get one and we'll get two the way we're going.
Root blasts it, and Tretьяк's equal to that challenge. Here's Gainey. He shoots wide. Canadians all around that Soviet net with good scoring chances. But it's either just off the mark or Tretья is there to block it time and time again. Acton against Zubkov, and Zubkov coming up with it. Pops it out to Vasiliev. He has the game's only goal for the Soviets. Gives the puck to Gainey. Gainey is taken down. There will be a penalty called against number 19, Sergei Starikov.
No question about that. I wonder why he's upset. Gainey had just knocked the puck by him and was gone. And that's the only way he was going to get Gainey down. No doubt, Wally Harris immediately calling the penalty. The Canadians now have got to go on that power play as we look at Gainey making a nice little move along the boards and trying to pull by. How could that Russian even look at him and wonder why he's getting a penalty? But the Canadians got to start shooting that puck more in the power play. They're starting to operate more in the middle, which they have to do. They're getting away from overhandling the puck along the boards. The next step is to shoot the puck.
In terms of the game's momentum, Lou Nanny, I think this penalty to the Soviets comes at a very opportune time for Montreal. They've been pressing them, and now can really do so with the power play opportunity for the next 2 minutes.
Very definitely, Don. They've had some good chances, and they should continue to get some here.
Walter digs it back to Guy Lafleur. He simply rolls it down the boards in behind for Steve Shutt. Shutt knocked off his feet. Walter being watched by Pervukin. Not getting much room over there against Vidya Letonov. Canadians are being contained nicely right now by the Soviets, but it's blocked by Green, who contains it for Montreal inside the blue line. Walter. Soviets are everywhere, yet they're a man short. Green, a soft shot, finally slapped back out again by the Soviets with 1 minute and 23 seconds to go in the penalty to the Soviet player, Starikov. Guy Lafleur in center ice. They'll have to go back and try again with Green. For Walter. Soviets meeting them at the blue line, lining up to contain them there if they can, and doing a very effective job of it, as it is shot by Sheplev back down the ice. Crowd getting on the Canadians now for this so far ineffective power play. Mario Tremblay got a piece of it, so did Lafleur. He keeps it in, shoots it off to an open corner for Tremblay with Wickenheiser. Now back to Green. Green winding a shot, rebound. shot to the corner by number 26, Mats Naslund, who had the great scoring chance a few minutes ago. Tremblay for Naslund. 30 seconds to the penalty, and Tretchak gets a piece of that shot. Shepilev bumps it against the boards. They all pile in. Sticks go high. Tremblay rolling the Soviet player who bumped him back as they whistle it down.
Well, the Soviets right now playing with a great deal of enthusiasm too, as Fedosov took Tremblay in the boards after Naslund had tied that puck up. Here you'll see Naslund making a fine move out of the corner, coming across and getting a backhand shot. Tretchak just getting it with the flat part of his glove, and the puck went over to the corner where we had that little mix-up. But Tretchak with another good save. Naslund, a fine play, coming out, seeing everybody tied up, and he knows he's going to be able to get a shot trying to beat Tretchak up high in the corner, but Tretchak getting a piece of it. And after the defenseman moved into the struggle in the corner, the puck was brought outside. If you followed that play up in the corner, you'd see 4 people going in the corner with a great deal of vigor.
Yes, as they say, intensity as they hit that corner. Steve's shot for the Montreal Canadiens. Beating Robinson, but they're called on the offside. 5:29 in the period remaining, 19 seconds, and the Soviet penalty to Starikov.
Robinson said in his interview at the end of the first period, Don, that he still gets emotionally pent up for these games. And he didn't mention that he always seems to play extremely well, too. What a hockey player, what a career he's had.
This emotion affects everybody, the players, the spectators, television viewers, and yes, television crew here as well. We feel it. Electric here on the Montreal Forum. Steve's shot to Delorme, winding on the short side, and Tretchak was on that side to cover as sticks go high and a couple of punches fly.
Well, Acton and Walter going to the front of the net for the rebound. A good shot from the defense, and this is what they've got to do. Delorme with a good shot, getting it a bit high, and that's why Tretchak's able to handle it. If they could get it lower from that far out, you've got to go for the rebound. When you get closer to the net, then go up high. Tretchak really maintaining his balance on all shots. Even when they're right in front, he's been able to withstand any desire to go down and guess. And he's been able to cover up and get those draws. But the one thing about the Canadiens, if they're better at the draws, they should get more opportunities as long as he's willing to take face-offs in his zone.
From the face-off, 4 seconds left in the penalty. It is knocked back out over the blue line. Starikov is on. The Soviets are back to full strength. With now 5 minutes to play in the second period, the Soviets lead 1-0. Larionov. Fedosov lets it go for Timonev. Timonev gave it away to Delorme. Delorme across to Carbonneau, and out goes the glove of Tretchak, although it would have been off the net on the short side. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. This NHL Soviet Series 83 is protected by copyright and is played under authority of the National Hockey League and the National Hockey League Players Association. Hope you're enjoying the action from the Montreal Forum tonight. 4:48 left in the second period. Soviets with the 1-goal lead. Here's Root's shot a mile wide. Timonev. Larionov hits the Montreal line, digs it through. The pass intercepted by Rezhan Houl. These teams have not slowed down for a second. Unbelievable action here.
That's true, Don. There's a lot of energy being expended down there.
It'll be a quiet New Year's Day. These guys are bound to be tired, giving their all here tonight. Canadians cannot keep it in. Larionov, who seems to be everywhere, number 11, the Soviet centerman, has it. Across to Fedosov. Fedosov to Timonev inside the line, as Vasilyev was sent flying by Steve Shutt. Chris Nyland. Carbonneau shoots it in. Steve Shutt against Fedosov in the corner, battling for it. 3:45 to play in the period. Good check by Tremblay. Tremblay looking for it, bumped off the puck by Kazatanov. And Kazatanov has it down the ice. Robert Picard. For Shutt. And on down inside the Soviet line. for Gainey at center ice. This is Pervukic. Shut him off. This is Soviets time and time again. We'll take it back. Oh, good check as Tremblay drove the Soviet player Pervukic into the board. And now it is Pervukic on his feet and skating with it ahead at center ice. Shepilev to Shalimov with Kapustin shooting, blocked by Robinson. Couldn't find the puck for a second. Way over on the far side, Kapustin shot. That's blocked. And out it comes for Montreal to center ice. Napier. Good stick handling by Napier, shooting all over top of the net, 10 rows high, in behind Tretья. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Bob Barry looking at the clock, seeing how much time left, 2:38 to go. He's down by one. Very poised, and has to be very happy the way his team's playing.
And he's the first to agree that the exhibition games are played in September. They are not played when the Soviets are in town. What a show they've been putting on. Galore shooting it to the Soviet corner. Guy Lafleur digs it out in front of the net and nobody is there. Walter was back of the play. Barnikov, nice piece of skating, finally got stick checked off to the side, comes right out in front. Here's the shot wide from the point, bouncing in behind for Barnikov again. Soviets putting pressure on now. Handled by Sevigny. Barnikov sweeps the net, can't get the shot as he was bumped smartly off the puck by Walter, and back comes Guy Lafleur. Ahead for Wickenheiser. And Barnikov clears for the Soviets with 1:45 to play in the second period. Sevigny way over in the corner, plays it around to the far side. Walter to Wickenheiser. Long pass for Guy Lafleur, takes it inside the blue line, lost the puck for a second as he was finally checked by Vladimir Zubkov. Puck is still free. Carbonell coming up with it, having trouble against the Soviet defender who plays it ahead. Zubkov. Green lobs it down to the corner for Nyland. Nyland bumped against the boards, lost his balance. We now have 1 minute to play in the second period. Soviets bring it inside again. Vasilyev being hounded by Houle. Then gets knocked down on the play by Green. But the USSR still has it. A swap shot just goes wide from Bykov. Houle shooting it to the Soviet player Starikov. Bouncing shot, Sevigny has to be careful with that. Green bounces right out in front off the boards. The pass to Maslin. The Canadiens having a little difficulty now with 20 seconds remaining in their own zone. They finally bring it out. Left there for Starshinov. Wyckoff with Kapustin. Kapustin went too far. Hit the mesh in behind the goal. 5 seconds remaining now as the Canadiens finally clear, but not all the way out. It's kept in by Kazatanov, and that will do it for the second period of the third game of this NHL Soviet Series. The only goal scored by Mikhail Vasilyev at the 5:08 mark, and that is the difference. The shots on goal just about even. 21 by Montreal and 20 by the Soviets, but the Soviets lead it by a score of 1-0. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Wickenheiser and Larionov, the centermen on the draw, and it is batted by Larionov back to the Montreal blue line and inside for Root. Wickenheiser doing some forechecking in center ice. Now a long looping backhand shot by Guy Lafleur sails beside the Soviet goal. Tretья has shut out Canadian pros for over 100 minutes now. Wickenheiser out in front, but not control the bouncing puck. Kazatanov, the defenseman, charges up with Krutov. A wide-angle shot is off the mark. Now Ryan Walter against Timonev. The Soviet wins it to Krutov, and his shot scores! It is 2-0 for the Soviet Union. 34 seconds into period 3.
Well, just a little mix-up along the boards. And Montreal should have had possession of the puck. They didn't. And Timonev coming up with the puck. When you see two Montreal Canadiens there, and he just comes up with a Krutov right there, taking a shot over the falling defenseman, beating Sevigny up high again. Both goals on Sevigny up high. Not much he can do about that. Defenseman falling to block, and when you fall from that angle, you better block it or you're going to give your goaltender some problems.
So it is scored by Krutov, 2-0 Soviets, 34 seconds into the third period. Napier leaving it there. It is shot down by Delorme into the Soviet zone. Vilyaletdinov gets turned around in the corner. Delorme trying to contain for Montreal. They keep it in there. Chopped away to the left corner now. Canadians will have to get rolling as they trail by 2. Acton dumps it out. There is nobody there but Shepelev of the USSR. This pass over Shalamov's stick. Now Napier for Montreal with Acton. Rolling it in. Tretchak steers that aside. Vilyaletdinov to Shalimov. Cross to Pervukin. Now it is Robert Picard for Montreal starting up at center ice. But they do not advance past the Soviet blue line. Time and time again, the Soviets head them off right there at the blue line as the puck hops into the crowd. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Soviets 2, Canadians nothing. Early into this third period, approaching the 1 minute 30-second mark of it. Face off in the center ice zone. Naslund wins the draw back to Robinson. Now has the puck himself. Down the left side. Blocked by Tretchak in behind for Vozikov. Long lead pass hopped over a Soviet stick at center. Tremblay with it gets turned around by Zlutkov. Shot forcing it behind the Soviet goal. Vozikov. Tremblay broke that up. Larry Robinson. Steering it over to Picard. Now Naslund. Squeezed off by Vozikov. Tremblay with a good body check in behind. Wide angle shot goes wide from Larry Robinson. Kortsov is bodied out of the play by Picard. Varnikov intercepting in the center ice area. Swings it past Picard into the Montreal corner. Larry Robinson. Around to Mats Naslund. He had a great scoring chance in that second period, just missing. Right now, the Soviet player of the game, I would think, would have to be Mr. Tretchak, who shut them out for over 100 minutes. So the Bats Player of the Game awards will follow. Across the goal mouth it goes from Houle. Nobody there. Now Houle rattles it off the cage and a quick shot by Kavanaugh, handled by Tretchak smartly, and the Soviets shoot it back down the ice. Rick Green for the Montreal Canadiens. Time and time again, Canadians shoot it in, trying to put pressure on the Soviets to contain it there. Babinov rolls it around on the near boards, and out they come. Bykov at center ice. Checked by Nyland. Green around the boards on the near side for Steve Shutt. But the defenseman Fetisov is down there in the corner. Tried to play it in front, could not do so. Canadians could ill afford a third Soviet goal right here. Here is Fetisov winding. It is blocked, batted down. Kavanaugh coming out. Puck was passed ahead by the hand, and so it's whistled at that point. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment. Play just underway in the Montreal zone. Guy Lafleur tapping it down the ice for the Canadians to Kazatanov. Up for Timonez. Krutov takes over on the left side. He scored one of the two Soviet goals. Vasiliev has the other. They lead 2-0. Wickenheiser makes a smart move against Kasatonov and shoots, and Tretchak blocks the drive. Wickenheiser flipping it out in front for Lafleur. He chases after it now against Fetisov. And it gets past Delorme and back down the ice into the Montreal zone. We have reached the 5-minute mark of the third period. The Soviets leading Montreal 2-0. Canadians out shooting them 23-21. A deflected shot caught smartly by the goalie, Richard Sevigny.
Well, that's something the Canadians can't afford to do. Right there, they were in perfect position to come out of the zone. And a bad pass to Lafleur. You see Ludwig going off the ice. A young fellow from North Dakota University. But Lafleur in perfect position to come out, and they had all five coming together. And they made a bad pass along the board. Soviets get a shot, almost deflected in the net. Good save by Sevigny.
Sergei Shepelev on the face-off of the Soviet Union against Keith Acton. Acton wins it. Napier with his own blue line. Slides it across to Larry Robinson with Gainey and Acton, but it's offside.
Keith Acton just a little bit antsy right there. Robinson coming over the blue line, the Soviet defenseman sagging. Robinson would have been in good position to get a shot because at the same time, he had Napier breaking from the side on the net. Just a little over-anxiousness on Acton's part right there, causing the offside.
Gerard Gauthier, the linesman, drops the puck. It is Picard with it. Drives it down to Pervukin. Pervukin smartly gets it to the line, but not out. Finally now it does hop free in the center ice area for Shepelev. Fast-breaking right wing pass for Shalimov. Shalimov shooting! Hit it! Rebound! They scored the third goal finally. Kapustin poked at it. He missed. And then sweeping in behind him, they make it 3-0.
Well, Sevigny fighting that puck from outside a bit. He lost control of it. He doesn't see it right here. You see Shalimov taking a shot. Should be handled by Sevigny. He lost it momentarily. He's looking around. It's behind him. Kapustin thought he had the goal. A great save by Sevigny, but Shepelev on the doorstep just lifting it over the glove. Right here was an easy save for Sevigny. Now you're going to see a tough save. Right there should have actually saved him a goal, but Shepelev already with his stick in the air, then finally put it in the net.
It is Sergei Shepelev at the 5:32 mark to give the Soviet Union a 3-0 lead, and a formidable lead that is here on the Montreal Forum this New Year's Eve. Soviets with their strong legs flying here in the third. Short, soft shooting, that is blocked by Rick Green. Yuri Bozakov. He fails to clear. Canadian shot beats it in front. Tremblay taken down in front of the goal. No penalty is called. The Soviets break it out. Barnikov. Ortsov shooting. Rebound. Barnikov, how he missed that rebound, I don't know, but Sevigny plucked it out. And the NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.
Schwarzkopf gets a defense to sag, uses the screen, takes a shot. Barnikov's gone for the net, right on the doorstep, all alone. He thought he had one, and what a save by Sevigny. But Montreal defense now starting to sag. They need a little help, and the Russians coming across the blue line for good shots.
Right in front, a second chance, right off the face-off. It rolls just beside the Montreal goal. It is finally tipped out to center ice, but the Soviets are flying here in the third period against the Montreal Canadiens, leading 3-0. Down goes Rezhan Houl from Starkiov's stick. Soviets bring it inside the Montreal zone, but Guy Carbonneau has possession now and heads up ice for the Canadiens. Off Houl's skates. Houl against Starikov in the corner, and it bumps into the crowd, and they stop it there with 13 minutes and 9 seconds to play in the final period.
Well, this is the reason why Dan Duhou got traded to Toronto. Guy Carbonneau right there came from Chicoutimi, second-round draft pick a few years back, and has come in and done such a fine job for the Canadiens. They felt Duhou was expendable. Carbonneau, excellent skater. He's not big, but he's very good on his skates. With the good agility he's got, he also makes a very fine penalty killer.
Wickenheiser, Walter, and Lafleur on the ice for the Montreal Canadiens with Robinson and Picard. Larionov on the draw, wins it, gets it across to Krutov. On the right side, Kazatanov shooting a mile high off the glass and behind. Guy Lafleur stopping in the corner, could not find the puck, now battles against Kazatanov up the boards. It is picked up by the Soviet Union. Timanev is closed off. They jam it in there. Finally, Larry Robinson gets it free, but the Soviets have it. Here's the shot blocked by Sevigny's right pad from Timanev's stick. Fetisov rolls it ahead. Robinson coming up with it. Now Guy Lafleur for the Montreal Canadiens to Ryan Walter. Walter inside the line with Wickenheiser and Lafleur. Lafleur wheeling left side. Out in front, he dumps it. It sits right there, and Larionov picks it off for the Soviets, and they get it back to center ice. Robinson lost his stick in Krutov's midsection. Krutov carries on, sidesteps Picard's check. Now they whistle it down and call a Montreal Canadien penalty. They can ill afford that right now. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in just a moment.
Picard getting a little anxious. Seeing Robinson with no stick, he comes across to try and hit Krutov right there, catches him with the leg, and there's going to be a tripping penalty. Robinson played Krutov smartly. You got no stick. Get him over to the side where a player that has one is, and that's what he did, but Picard missed the man.
That's the similar kind of play that Marois broke his leg on early in last night's game. Ilya Detmanov's shot bounces off the boards. Pervukin contains it for the Soviet Union in the Montreal zone, and now this is Root with it for the Canadiens. Shooting it down around to the left corner for Bob Gainey. Shalimov digging it free for the Soviets. Rick Green at center ice. Back inside the Soviet line it goes, but the Canadiens are keeping it inside the Soviet blue line for shorter periods as this game goes along. Kapustin fades off the left boards. Back to Pervukin. Vidyaletdinov had him hop over his stick. Gainey tried to force him out, couldn't do so. They play it right in front. Pervukin shot blocked. Rebound comes out. A second save by Sevigny. Carbonneau golfing away at it. Gets it down the ice for Montreal. We approach the 9-minute mark in the third period, and just under a minute, 57 seconds left in the Canadiens' penalty to Robert Picard. Shepelev on the Soviet power play. Overskates the puck. Left for Walter, trying to kill some time. But the Habs don't have much time now as they trail 3-0. Shepelev. Shalimov. Headed off by Guy Lafleur. Vidyaletdinov. Past Vasiliev. Vasiliev is one of the 3 Soviet goals tonight. He scored the first.
Don, watch out real strong the Soviets are on their stick. Along the boards, they're very strong on their stick when they're fighting for the puck.
Vasiliev hits the Montreal line. Got cut off by Ludwig. Drop back for Pervukin across the Vidyaletdinov. A quick shot, a fine save by Sevigny with 8 seconds left in the Picard penalty.
And the Canadiens doing a real good job killing penalties tonight, and what they're doing very smartly is keeping people away from Sevigny, allowing them to see the shot like this one from the blue line. Vidyaletdinov hits that puck and gets a good wood on it, but down low is Sevigny, no one around. He gets a little rebound, but he's able to freeze it very quickly.
Lou, I get the sensation that while the Canadiens have played their hearts out literally tonight, they appear to be running out of gas in this third period.
And Lafleur in the interview at the end of the second period was saying, I think we're getting stronger, they're getting tired. Hopefully that'll be enough to carry us through. But the Russians find that second strength. They're extremely well conditioned. They work at it for 11 months, and that's when it pays off in third periods of tough games like this one, when you've got to call on that little extra to get you through.
Vasiliev waved out of the face-off circle in favor of Gerasimov. Held in by Bykov against Carbonneau, and he fell. Carbonneau coming away with the puck for Montreal, but he's stalled there by Zubkov. Bob Gainey, he does clear. It's all the way down the ice as the penalty has just expired. But icing has been waived. The Montreal Canadiens down 3 goals. 9 minutes and 50 seconds left. They're back to full strength. Starikov rolls one in beside the goal. Sevigny has played oh so well tonight in goal. Tretjak also outstanding at the other end. It's been a goaltender's game here on the Montreal Forum this New Year's Eve. Stopped by Tretjak. For Zubkov. And Gerasimov. Starikov. Steve Shutt watching him. Delorme keeps it in, makes a good check, rolls to an open wing, and the Soviets pick it up once again with Zubkov, the defenseman, coming out. And to Bykov. Down to the right corner. Sevigny stops it there for Green. 9 minutes to play in the game. 3-0 the Soviets over the Montreal Canadiens. Shutt is taken down as Sportsov hit him across the blue line. Now Varnikov has it taken away from him. Canadians simply repelling one Soviet thrust after another as the Soviets now with that lead are content to just keep the puck in play and kill as much time as they possibly can against the Montreal Canadiens, who are fast running out of time. Sportsov on the right wing inside the blue line shoots. That's blocked by the defenseman Ludwig in behind the goal. Back to an open point man position, and it is held in by Vozakov, bodied by Walter. And Walter now swings it ahead at center ice to Guy Lafleur. Lafleur stopping to feed Rickenheiser. Rickenheiser closing in. Skated off the puck for the Soviet defender as they both fall near the goal. Sportsov once again with Varnikov popping it over. A good relay and a good save by Sevigny off the stick of Zlutkov. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in just a moment.
You wonder why they say Tretyak might be the best goaltender in the game, and many say he is. Just look at that record. And he's been playing since 1970. He says, you know, I'm really getting tired of playing games like this that count so much day in and day out. He says, I'd like to have a different kind of attitude towards the game, and most of all, I'd like to go home after a game. You know, these fellas, especially Tretyak, he hasn't been home for 12 years on New Year's, and Maltsev hadn't been home on 15 till this year.
Well, compared to the traveling Tretyak is down, even a trip from the West Coast back to Montreal in the NHL is like going to the South Shore on a bus. Soviets traveled 19 hours just to get to Canada for this series.
What's our excuse? We're not home either.
You bet.
Tom McGee and Lansbury want to get home.
Have to wait till next week, guys, when the series ends. Here's Gainey. The puck rolls over into the Soviet corner now. The Canadians pressing to break the shutout streak of Tretyak, the Soviet goalie. Out comes Krutov with Larionov. Made one move too many. The stick check smartly back there. And with Acton, here is Napier inside the line going right in. Couldn't get a shot away. Totally handcuffed for the Soviet defender. And the penalty will be called to the captain, Fetisov.
Fetisov having a marvelous night for the Soviet Hockey Club, but that time he knew he better do something because Napier was in alone. Napier with a good fine move. And this is something that's real tough to do. When you fake, sometimes to go in your forehand. Natural deke is usually to your left hand, but you see the Russians do it extremely well. Napier doing it at that time, getting through, but Fetisov having to pull him down, and maybe the Canadians can crack that shield of Tretyak's at this time, because there's only 7:09 left, and the Canadians are shut out to this point, and Quebec was shut out last night.
Here's a guy they'd love to have in the National Hockey League, Lou Nanny.
Who wouldn't? The old scene is, where would you play him? We could fit him in. Wherever he wants to play.
Wherever he likes.
Not that old either, and he's a captain. He's taking the place of Vasily Vasilyev, who's not here.
The
was
other
always the
Vasilyev,
captain.
yeah.
That's right. And this is really a credit to this young man being named captain at that young age. He's only 23, 24 years old. You've got people like Kapustin and Zlutkov that are 28 and 29.
Here is Naslund, apart from Sevigny, perhaps Montreal's best player tonight. Swinging in front with a shot, rolling at the goal line, still loose down there, but the Soviets, Shepelev rescues it and brings it back down the ice for the red shirts from Moscow. As the Montreal players taken down, the crowd hollering for a penalty. The Montreal Canadiens do have a power play on the ice right now with a minute and a half left in it. 6:38 to play in the hockey game. Lafleur for Naslund, left side. Skated off, but Shutt carries on. Rolls it in behind. Now Shutt pouncing on the puck once again for Montreal to Naslund. Back of the point for Green. Naslund. Green shooting. Blocked by the defense off to the corner for Guy Lafleur. Back it comes for Rick Green. Blasts it again. The Soviets able to stop it once again. Bilyaletdinov. Pervukin comes up with it. And Pervukin gets it down the ice with 51 seconds left in the power play. Bob Gainey wheeling away at center ice. 6:39 to Drops it for Keith Acton with Napier in there. LaFleur on the point. Acton now being bothered by the Soviet players. Lutka. For LaFleur. Guy LaFleur shooting one. And a stop by Tretchak to amaze the players. Napier. Acton, just 15 seconds left on the power play. Napier again. Lets the shot go off Pervukin's leg, and Pervukin clears off to the corner. 3 seconds to go. The Soviet penalty defensive. Down to LaFleur, in front for Gady, a shot, rebound, loose puck, they channel away it, and Tretchak has it once again. As the Soviet players step back on the ice, the Canadians almost popped one in.
I want to tell you, the Canadians really have had some tremendous chances. The goaltending we're seeing from that fella right there on his knees has just been spectacular. He's tired, he's had the flu for a week. He came in last night, got a shutout, but watch this. Just a fine play, a good pass by LaFleur very quickly across into the slot area. A great shot by Gaining. Watch Acton right on the doorstep. He's right there with the rebound. Shoots once, he's going to hit and shoot again, but he gets taken out with a little bit of authority by Lozavkov. But I'll tell you, this Tretchak has been marvelous.
Well, the Montreal Canadiens gave him a standing ovation when he was introduced, and will likely give him a longer standing ovation when this game ends tonight.
There's going to be 20 other teams calling Tretchak and saying, we're really Montreal, but we're really fooling. We're going to draft you.
Guy named Nanny in Bloomington might be the first.
I think I'm going to have to show him around next week. He really hasn't seen our city.
No, he hasn't seen the snow down there you had last week. We'll be in Minnesota on Tuesday for Game 5. Gerasimov across the blue line, drops it there. Vasiliev carries on and scores. Persevered some stiff checking as he reached the face-off circle and just blasted it past Sevigny to make it 4-0 for the Soviet Union.
Well, the Montreal defense in this place sags again, lets him walk in a little too close, and he gets a good shot down low on Sevigny. He was really strong on the stick. Watch here, he's coming through. Now look, he gets checked. See how strong they are on their stick? They don't lose control of that puck. And he gets it again. He had lost it momentarily. Just shoots it for the far side. Sevigny a little deep in the net. And that puts the Soviets up 4-0.
At 15:06 of this, the third period, as they pull away from the Montreal Canadiens this New Year's Eve. Lykov to Vasiliev. Delorme with it for the Canadiens. Working it ahead to Carbonneau. 4 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the game. So it appears the New Year's Eve party will not be quite as joyful here in Montreal as it will be in Moscow. Gerasimov was knocked down by Ludwig, who will take a 2-minute penalty for tripping for Montreal. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in just a moment.
Coming down. We'll see the penalty on Ludwig right now. As Ludwig's getting caught flat-footed, Gerasimov going around the outside. He's going to reach for the puck. Catches his legs. Watch him at his head right there on the boards. He's lucky he didn't get hurt. Craig Ludwig just getting caught flat-footed a little too much. That happens occasionally when you go back too fast, and then all of a sudden you see you're sagging, so you stop and slow down. You get caught with no speed.
So another Soviet power play is on the ice. Timyanev could not keep it from Root. He clears to center for Montreal. We now have 4 minutes to play in the hockey game. 4-0, the Soviets lead the Canadians. Back in they come again with Timyanev. Fetisov blasts one, and Sevigny kicks it 12 rows high.
And that was a heck of a save, because Fetisov shooting off the pass had that label for the far corner, and it had to be a quick reaction by Sevigny with his skate to kick that one out. Here's a shot right off the pass. That's when you get some good velocity, but it takes a little bit of timing. It's not as easy as it looks. A true professional makes everything look easy.
Well, the crowd here has seen a great hockey game, but the Canadians have wilted in the latter part of the second period here into the third as they fall down by 4 goals, with the Calgary Flames likely taking notes back in Calgary for the fourth game coming up in the Stampede Corral on Sunday night, January 2nd. That at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Calgary time. We'll be there to bring it to you. Timyanev makes a fine play, and oh, they almost popped another one in there. Soviets have done a lot of things well, but not on power plays where they are 1 for 17 in the series. But they have now outscored the National Hockey League in 2 of the 3 games and shut them out so far on these last 2. Pettisov's big shot was blocked by Root. Puck is battled ahead to the line. Kazatonov holding it in, sailing it on goal to feed Larionov, and it is finally cleared by Montreal.
And one thing they've done, and they used to have a very successful power play, shoot off the pass down close to the net. The NHL somewhat copied it. They start playing their wings on the opposite side. The Soviets then went to the NHL style of trying to block the goaltender's vision, and they did that to such an extent they used 2 men deep. But what surprises me, as we look at Guy Lafleur, a little flustered, checking the clock and knowing there's not much time to get back in this game, what surprises me most is the Soviets, when they're not having success, they don't adjust back. They were so successful in other ways, it's almost like they're determined to say, we'll make this work.
Well, this indeed is a significant night for the Soviet Union, because they have never until now beaten the Montreal Canadiens. Carbonneau will skate for the face-off. Drops it back for Gainey, and his shot is deflected into the crowd. But Tretjak now with 117 minutes of shutout hockey against the Quebec Nordiques. Now the Montreal Canadiens is the man of the hour tonight.
And he still looks very much in the game. Just look at him. Always ready, checking everything, getting set for a shot.
Canadians determined to at least break that scoreless streak of Tretjaks before they leave the ice tonight. But it has been tough. This man is not yielding anything to them. Here's Krutov being bumped off the play, carrying on to get a shot that drifts wide. Right out in front, hopping over Krutov's stick. 2.5 minutes to play now. Pettisov blows again, he scores! A slap shot from the left point. It's the Soviets into a 5-0 lead.
Well, Timonev right in front of the net. They finally got it to work, setting up the screen for Pettisov. Pettisov getting that shot down low through the screen into the net. See him take a look. Now he moves to the center. Good shooting angle from the top of the circle. Look at Timonev right in front. Lifts his leg. The puck goes right through.
Boom.
Into the net. The Soviets finally making it work now. Maybe they'll adjust to something else. They're having a very good night tonight. Extremely sharp in all their playing. You can tell by how many missed passes they've had, how quickly they are to jump on loose pucks, and how well they capitalize on opportunities anytime they get around the net.
Literally have now outscored the 3 NHL teams to this point of the series 11 goals to 4. And the Edmonton Oilers, to this point, the only team to score on them. They beat them 4-3 in the opener. Walter to Wickenheiser. Back for Walter, cleared for the Soviets over in the corner. 2 minutes and 15 seconds to play in the hockey game. And the Soviets lead 5-0. Once they get rolling, as they have tonight, they are so difficult to contain.
And watch them just try and contain in Montreal right now and just handle the puck very easily, not to give up that shutout.
Lutkov backhands it into the Montreal zone. Root brings it out to Walter. To Lafleur, right wing pass, blasts the shot, rebound, and oh, the Canadian player skated too far. Wickenheiser. Sports on. With Varnikov inside the line, feeds it in front. Strong Soviet winger rolls it, and Varnikov just missed getting his stick on it. Kavinov slap shot. They're shooting from almost every angle now. The Soviets with 35 shots so far to the Canadiens 29. Lafleur, too far for Walter. Pops it out for Green, the defenseman. Leaves it there. Wickenheiser's backhand shot handled by Tretjak. 1 minute, 10 seconds to play. And from the point, it is taken away by Schwartzov. Schwartzov closing in, feeding on the left side, and oh, the shot goes wide by Lutkov. Into the final minute we go. Wickenheiser for Lafleur. Guy Lafleur tracks it down in the corner, pops it in behind the Soviet goal. Starikov. Gerasimov now to center ice. Hits the Montreal line and shoots it, blocked by Sevigny. Still loose in there. Another chance for the Soviets. It's picked up by Naslin, who sends Tremblay away on the right wing. Bumps into the Soviet player Starikov and bowls him right over. 25 seconds to play now. Naslin leaves it in the corner in behind for Mario Tremblay. Tremblay brings it in front, turns, can't get a shot away, and the Soviets have it with 13 seconds to go. Vasiliev on Robinson. Now Picard coming in to help out. And it looks as though Mr. Tretjak will get his shutout unless Picard can score right here with Naslin, and they do not. It's a shutout for Tretjak and a 5-0 victory for the national team of the Soviet Union on New Year's Eve, the eve of 1983. And a happy Tretjak, thousands of miles from home, has done it again.
Well, we'd like to make this his home the way he plays. Not a lot of teams would like it, but he is happy, should be happy. Just a superb performance by him. Tested really with some very difficult chances in the first two periods that could have shot Montreal into the league. He was more than equal to the task, and that's why the Soviets have prevailed tonight.
So the new year will not start quite so happily for the Montreal Canadiens, who played their hearts out but couldn't handle the flying feet of the Soviets tonight to win at 5-0. The NHL Soviet Series 83 will continue in a moment.